For years, viewers tuned in week after week, convinced that the rugged lawman and the spirited saloon owner were destined for each other in that dusty frontier town. But off camera, the air between them turned icy. As soon as the lights dimmed and the crew packed up, the lead actor slipped away without a glance or a goodbye. To his co-star, what looked like quiet intensity on screen hid a simmering grudge. The set buzzed with unspoken strain, yet everyone tiptoed around it. The network went to great lengths to bury the discord, safeguarding the show's iconic reputation. Little by little, though, the story of one of classic TV's most guarded rivalries started to emerge. She stepped onto the set in her mid, full of fire and ready to carve out a place in a world dominated by tough guys. He was a bit older, still nursing an old battle wound, and had been chosen for the role of the stoic marshal by a legendary figure in the industry. At the outset, their partnership felt effortless. She looked up to his steady presence, and he appreciated her bold spirit. They spent long days together, sometimes lingering after hours to polish their lines. The spark that drew audiences in began to flicker into competition. Her character captured hearts quickly. Fans sent floods of mail celebrating her sharp tongue, and so soon, the promotions shifted, placing her front and center alongside him, no longer just in his shadow. For someone who prized order and tradition, this shift stung like disloyalty. By the third year, rumors of clashes over creative choices rippled through the team. She bonded with the original director, who tweaked scripts to give her more to say. He viewed it as unfair bias. One crew hand later shared, his expression would harden whenever she landed an extra moment in the spotlight. That's when collaboration soured into a silent standoff, a crack the executives hid for years. It went beyond envy. It was about a man sensing his grip on the reins slipping away. The tension boiled over during a simple photo session in the late 1950s. When asked to pose nearer, he pulled back at the last second, murmuring that her character didn't rely on his that much. She kept her composure, but privately admitted to a journalist how tough it was to pretend warmth amid growing barriers. From then on, their shared looks carried hidden edges. One break between scenes, she confronted him gently. "Things feel different now, don't they?" He barely glanced her way. "It's all good when the film's running," he said coolly. What started as mutual respect had twisted into quiet bitterness. By the 1960s, the series was a powerhouse, turning him into a small-screen king with paychecks rivaling movie icons. She represented a new wave of strong women, fearless and relatable, inspiring viewers everywhere. But success only widened the gap. In one episode where the marshal had to rescue her from a blazing structure, the scene demanded he hoist her up multiple times under blazing lights, all while fighting his chronic ache. He turned down help from us. The initial run-through was fine, but when she requested a redo for her delivery, his patience cracked. On the next attempt, she tumbled from his hold, hitting the ground hard. That raw cry echoed for real. Some say production halted briefly, chalked up to fatigue, but a sound tech remembered years later. He strode off without a word, stone-faced, no remorse in sight. Afterward, the schedule got reworked to minimize their overlaps. Shots were framed with more space, less contact, averted gazes. Ironically, the friction sharpened their acting. Fans raved about the electric undercurrent. The staff saw it for what it was, barely leashed anger. As he gained veto power over stories, he nixed any hints of deeper romance. A brush of hands, a heartfelt talk, claiming it clashed with the show's grit. A wardrobe expert confided the real motive: ego. He couldn't stand her stealing the win. "If this story touches your heart, please share it." Their on-screen saga pressed on, not from desire, but from stubborn resolve. Holiday gatherings that year happened separately, he with his loved ones, she with a small circle from the crew. From there, the production split into parallel tracks, their paths crossing only when necessary. No one predicted the end. Into the 1970s, the show coasted on nostalgia as both grew older. She pushed for her role to evolve, suggesting a backstory of redemption from a gritty past, adding layers that could empower female audiences. It was progressive, raw, but he shut it down in a private huddle with the boss, insisting it would tarnish the marshal's honor. The decision crushed her. She later whispered to a confidant, "I aimed to prove she was real, with scars and triumphs," but he preferred her polished and in place. The atmosphere grew poisonous. Dialogue offset dried up completely. They'd enter and exit like ships passing in the night. Their dedication kept things afloat, but the old ease vanished. The showdown erupted during prep for a key episode in 1973. Her frustration spilled out. "You've boxed her in, made her fade." He met her eyes steadily. To him, her character wasn't just fiction anymore. It challenged his vision. "You've made her too relatable," he shot back softly. In that exchange, the chasm sealed shut. It transcended scripts or fame. It was a fight over the heart of the tale. She stormed off, returning only for the take. When it aired, the raw farewell scene moved watchers deeply. Her character bidding the town adieu. They mistook it for artistry. Insiders recognized the truth. Postseason, she quit. The suits pleaded for her return. He stayed silent. In a rare chat that year, he shrugged. People move on. The frontier endures. The episode sparked endless debates, laced with subtext. When the series wrapped for good in 1975, he stepped back from the spotlight, embracing quiet days on the water, rarely uttering her name. Rumors lingered, though some whispered his quiet wasn't spite, but regret. A decade on, the network floated a revival movie, pulling them back together. He signed on swiftly. She hesitated until hearing of his involvement, then agreed with the stipulation that their key moment, film first. The set hummed with echoes of the past. In downtime, she tested the waters, ever long for those old streets. He stared ahead. "Just in the storms," he replied distantly. For a heartbeat, a flicker of old camaraderie surfaced, but action brought it surging back, his touch unsteady, her words catching with real tears. "You left me behind." No response from him. The quiet wasn't in the lines. It was theirs. They parted wordlessly after. 2 years later, in 1989, she succumbed to illness tied to a devastating condition. He skipped the service, sending instead a brief message. "She shaped my finest hours." Some heard detachment, others a veiled amends. Near the end of his life in 2011, he opened up to a close ally. "We might have been allies, but our similarities clashed headstrong." Terrified of yielding, that insight reframed their legacy. The clash stemmed not from malice, but from egos too fierce to bend. Ultimately, the divide between the marshal's actor and the saloon keeper's star cursed and crowned the show. Their real-life distance birthed an authenticity no writer could invent. The yearning fans sensed was veiled aggravation, the poise, armored vanity, and that buried reality has kept their legend burning bright. Yet it was that same unyielding spirit, one that drove them apart, that forged TV's most timeless duo, not in unity or affection, but in a raw push-pull that mirrored life itself. Reflecting back, he once mused to a writer, "We convinced folks that world was real, maybe because we were clawing through it too." So, was their shadowed struggle the spark that elevated the series to icon status, or the force that shattered what could have been even greater? Hit like if this resonates, subscribe for more hidden tales, and share to keep the conversation alive.